Most students do not manage time well for the ACT reading test, and so they get a much lower score than what they could have gotten if they simply used the right strategies to manage time. Here are 5 strategies for managing time for the ACT reading test that will help you get a higher score even without being any better at reading. First, and most importantly, make sure you manage time so that you are able to get to and attempt every single question of every single passage. Most students spend way too much time on the first 2 to 3 passages and end up barely having any time, if any time at all, for the 3rd and 4th passages. To make sure you don't miss out on any of the later questions that you could easily get correct and thus raise your score, you must force yourself to finish each passage within a certain amount of time, even if it means guessing on a few questions that you haven't gotten to yet, and then coming back to them after you finish the test. Second, you have 8 minutes 45 seconds to spend for each passage if you divide 35 minutes by 4 passages. You'll probably spend about 30 seconds bubbling, so that gives you about 8 minutes 15 seconds to answer all of the questions for each passage. It's very important that you force yourself to stick to this time limit, or else you may miss some easy questions in the 4th passage simply because you didn't get to them. This is why bringing your own digital watch to the ACT is so important. Without one, you won't be able to keep yourself to these time limits because you really aren't going to calculate 8 minutes 45 seconds from the wall clock. That's really hard. Third, later, in the specific strategies section, we will cover specific strategies to use to help you be able to read the passage and answer all of the questions within the time limit. For now, we're just giving you a bird's eye view of how we will approach the test. Fourth, if you have to guess on some questions to finish the passage within the time limit, but you really want to go back to them, I would try to work more quickly on the other passages to give yourself time to go back to these questions. This might mean guessing more quickly on questions that you think you have a smaller chance of getting right, so that you can spend more time on questions that you think you are really close to getting right. Fifth, to recap, keep this in mind. Spending a long time on one question and getting it correct is not worth not being able to even get to the 4th passage. So, use self-control to stick to the time limit for each passage. In the next videos, we'll talk about how to mark 2 different kinds of questions for the ACT reading test. 1, questions you skip, and 2, questions where you're not sure about your answer, as well as the best way to bubble for the ACT reading test. Make sure you watch them.